Sometimes, the best stories start as rumors, whispers at a car meet that sound too wild to be true. These are the tales that get passed around between enthusiasts, growing more unbelievable with every retelling. You hear them in the background, over the hum of engines and laughter, and you wonder if there's even a grain of truth to them. One evening, I heard about an old woman living out in the countryside, said to have a barn full of her late husband's cars. Not just any cars, but a collection that had been hidden away for decades, gathering dust and stories in equal measure. The wildest claim: that among the relics was a Bugatti Chiron just sitting there, untouched for years, as if time itself had forgotten it. The idea seemed almost laughable, a hypercar worth millions abandoned in a barn. It sounded impossible, a fantasy spun out of thin air, but the story stuck with me. I couldn't shake the image from my mind. That night, as I lay in bed, the thought of a forgotten supercar kept me awake. My mind raced with questions. What if it was true? What if a legend really was waiting to be discovered? By morning, curiosity had taken over. I knew I had to see for myself, no matter how far-fetched the story seemed. The next morning, I tracked down the address and set out, driving deep into the countryside. With every mile, my doubts wrestled with my excitement. The landscape changed, from city streets to rolling fields, and my anticipation grew. Was I chasing a legend, or just a rusted tractor in a pile of old parts? The line between myth and reality felt razor thin. After what felt like hours, I finally arrived at a weathered farmhouse, its paint faded by years of sun and rain, with a big red barn standing proudly beside it. The barn looked like something out of a storybook, the kind of place where legends are born and secrets are kept safe from the world. I knocked on the farmhouse door, my heart pounding, and a kind elderly woman answered, her eyes warm and curious. I explained why I was there, feeling a bit silly as I mentioned the rumor about a Bugatti. She listened, patiently, a small smile playing on her lips. She nodded thoughtfully, and said her husband did, in fact, have a special car in the barn. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of pride and nostalgia. Without hesitation, she invited me to take a look, her voice gentle but filled with a sense of anticipation. My heart pounded in my chest as I followed her across the yard to the barn. The adventure was suddenly very real, and every step felt like it could change everything. I stood at the threshold, about to discover if the legend was true, or if I'd simply chased a dream. Sometimes, you just have to chase the story, no matter where it leads, or how unlikely it seems. And for me, this story, this adventure, was only just beginning. The barn doors groaned open, their ancient hinges protesting as I pushed them aside, letting in a shaft of golden morning light that sliced through the darkness. The air was thick with the scent of old earth, hay, and the faint memory of animals long gone, dust motes swirling lazily in the sunbeam. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed a low, wide silhouette, hidden beneath layers of tarps and years of dust, surrounded by forgotten farm tools and relics of another era. Vines had crept in through cracks in the barn, curling around the wheels, while a bird's nest perched in the spoiler, a machine slowly being reclaimed by nature itself. My heart pounded as I reached out and gently pulled back the heavy dirt-caked tarp, revealing what lay beneath. Underneath, a deep blue shimmered through the grime, hinting at the beauty that once was, and could be again. The unmistakable C-shaped line on the side, even beneath the dust, confirmed my wildest hopes. It was a Bugatti Chiron, one of the rarest and most powerful supercars ever built, now left to slumber in silence. Rust clung stubbornly to the brakes and exhaust, the tires flat and cracked, each detail telling a story of years spent untouched and forgotten. The car was in rough shape, battered by time and neglect, but miraculously, it was all there, intact, waiting for a second chance. I slowly circled it, running my hand along the dusty curves, imagining the thunderous roar of its engine and the blur of its speed on open roads. Now, it sat silent, a monument to time, neglect, and the relentless march of nature, its glory days, just a memory. But beneath the decay, I saw more than just a relic. I saw potential, a challenge, a puzzle, and the promise of bringing something extraordinary back to life. This was more than a car. It was a sleeping giant, waiting for someone to awaken it from its long slumber. I felt a surge of determination. I knew, in that moment, I had to save it, no matter how daunting the task ahead. The dream of restoration flickered to life inside me, fueled by hope, excitement, and a sense of responsibility to revive this masterpiece. Standing in that dusty barn, surrounded by echoes of the past, I made up my mind. This was my mission now. This forgotten legend deserved a second chance, a chance to shine, to inspire, and to remind the world of what it once was. The real work was about to begin, and with it, the journey to awaken the sleeping giant. I returned to the grandma, my heart pounding with anticipation. The barn felt even quieter than before, as if it was holding its breath for what was about to happen. My mind raced with possibilities. What if this was the moment that changed everything? I tried to steady my nerves, reminding myself to stay calm and focused. I gently told her the car was special, but in terrible shape. Years of dust and neglect had taken their toll, and it would need a miracle to run again. She listened quietly, then opened up about her late husband. The car, she said, was a painful reminder of the past, a symbol of dreams that never quite came true. She'd even considered calling a scrapyard to haul it away, just to be rid of the memories. The thought of such a rare car being scrapped was almost unthinkable, but deep down, she just wanted it gone, out of her life, but cared for by someone who'd truly appreciate it. She hoped it could bring someone else happiness. I nervously asked what she wanted for it, unsure if I could even afford her answer. My palms were sweaty as I waited for her reply. She smiled warmly and said, "The porch roof needs fixing. $500 would cover it." I was stunned. $500 for a car like this. It felt unreal. $500 for a Bugatti Chiron. My mind reeled at the thought. This was the kind of story you only ever heard about, never expected to live yourself. I handed her the money, my hands trembling with excitement and disbelief. It felt like I was stepping into a dream. We shook hands in the dusty barn, a simple, honest deal sealed with trust and mutual respect. There was no paperwork, just a handshake and a shared understanding. She was happy the car would be loved again, and I promised to keep its story alive. The relief on her face was unmistakable. The legend was now mine. I stood there, barely able to believe my luck, feeling the weight of history and possibility in my hands. The next challenge awaited, getting the Chiron out of the barn and safely to my workshop. It wouldn't be easy, but I was determined. The adventure had just shifted into high gear. Every mile ahead promised new obstacles, but also new hope. Sometimes, the best deals are made with trust, not price tags. It's about the stories we share, and the connections we make. I was ready to bring this sleeping giant back to life, to restore not just a car, but a legacy. The restoration journey was officially underway, and I couldn't wait to see what the future would hold for both of us. Extracting the Chiron from the barn was a careful operation, cutting away vines, lifting it onto dollies, and winching it out inch by inch. At my workshop, it looked like a swamp creature. The first step, a deep clean. I started with a soft brush and vacuum, gently removing years of dirt and nests. Then came the foam cannon, blanketing the car in thick, cleansing foam. As the foam worked, rivers of brown dirt streamed down. A low-pressure wash revealed the brilliant blue paint beneath. The transformation was stunning. The sharp lines and curves reappeared. For the first time, I could see the Chiron's true soul. It was still battered, but its beauty was undeniable. The restoration had truly begun. With the car clean, rust was the next enemy. I inspected every inch. Wheel arches, underbody, suspension, all showed signs of corrosion. Parts were removed, sanded, or blasted clean. Every rusty spot was treated, every bare patch primed with rust-inhibiting primer. This step isn't glamorous, but it's crucial. A strong foundation means a lasting restoration. The car was now a clean, rust-free canvas, ready for its new beginning. The hard work was paying off. The Chiron was one step closer to rebirth. While the body was prepped, I turned to the heart, the W16 engine. After a decade of silence, it needed careful revival, old fluids drained, fresh ones added, cylinders lubricated. I turned the engine by hand, smooth, no resistance, new battery, new spark plugs, cleaned fuel lines. The moment of truth. I turned the key. The engine roared to life, echoing through the shop. With the heart beating, it was time for paint. In the paint booth, the Chiron was masked and sprayed with its original blue. Layer by layer, the color deepened. Clear coat added a mirror-like shine. Under the lights, the car looked factory fresh. The transformation was almost complete. The legend was coming back to life. The finish line was in sight. With paint cured, reassembly began. Suspension, brakes, and wheels went on first. Seeing it on its own tires was a milestone. The interior was deep cleaned, leather restored, every detail perfected. Exterior trim and the iconic Bugatti badge were polished and installed. The car's identity returned with every piece. Final step, paint correction and polishing. Wet sanding and machine polishing brought out a flawless, glassy shine. The Chiron gleamed, every curve reflecting the journey. The masterpiece was whole again. Every hour of work showed in the finish. The legend was ready for its reveal. The gem was finally polished. The dream was real. The day arrived. The Bugatti Chiron, once lost to time, now stood reborn in my workshop. The deep blue paint shimmered, the engine purred, the interior was pristine. It was more than a car, it was a legend revived. This journey was about more than restoration. It was about passion, patience, and second chances. Of course, this is a fictional tale, a dream for car lovers everywhere. But the spirit of saving forgotten classics is real. This story is a tribute to everyone who brings old legends back to life. What dream car should we rescue next? Let me know in the comments. Your idea could inspire the next adventure. Thanks for joining me on this incredible ride.